In this AIFP tutorial video, we'll be looking at the navlog, weather briefings, and flight plan filing. In addition, we'll look at exporting the flight plan in the GPX file format for use in GPS navigators. Let's begin by taking a look at the navigation log. For this, I'll open a stored route by clicking on Route, then on Stored Routes to bring up our list of saved flights and select the flight we want to use. With our route loaded, I'll click back on the Route menu and select Navlog. This opens a traditional style navigation log filled in with all the details for our flight. You can drag the borders of this window to expand it and make it larger. The navlog tables contain all the normal details you'd expect in a navigation log, including winds aloft information, VOR frequencies, and Morse code identifiers. You have two options for printing the navlog: kneeboard format and full page. Click on the corresponding buttons at the top of the window to select your preferred format. The kneeboard size is perfect for folding in half to fit a standard size kneeboard, and the full page uses a larger font to make reading a bit easier, for those of us that appreciate that sort of thing. An important note about the navlog is the refresh button in the top right of the window. Anytime you make a change to your route using any of the methods we covered in this video series, you must always remember to use the refresh button to make sure the changes you made are being used in the calculations. This forces the flight planner to recalculate all figures using the current values you set for the flight. This is especially true if you open the navlog and then go back to the chart and make additional changes. When finished, click the X in the right corner of the window to close. Now we'll look at obtaining a weather briefing for our flight. Weather briefings are provided by either DTC Duat or CSC Duats, depending on which provider you have specified as your preferred provider. Entering credentials and setting the preferred provider is covered in video number 2 of the AIFP Flight Planner video tutorial series. Note that weather briefings can only be provided for a maximum of 24 hours in advance of the departure time you entered for the flight plan. With a flight plan loaded, we'll click on Route in the menu bar, then click on the last option, Briefings and Flight Plans. This will open the Briefings and Plans window. There are a series of tabs across the top of this window. The Briefings tab is the active tab when you first open the window. We have a choice of receiving a route briefing or an area briefing by using the radio buttons at the top of the form. A route briefing provides weather information along the specified route, while an area briefing obtains all available weather information for a radius around the airports. The fields that follow are populated automatically from the flight plan we have loaded. However, you can edit any of these fields if needed prior to requesting the briefing. All fields with a preceding asterisk are required fields. The Advanced section at the bottom of the form allows us to specify additional options to be included in the briefing. Once all fields are filled in, pressing the Submit Request button at the bottom will begin the request. The request can take several seconds while the briefing is being prepared. The screen will automatically refresh when the briefing is ready. The briefing window can now be enlarged by dragging the borders of the window. You can also print the briefing by using the Print button in the top right corner of the window. If we scroll down a little in the briefing, we'll see a transaction number. This is the unique ID number that is assigned to this particular weather briefing and is generated by the provider that generated the briefing. Record that this briefing was obtained can be viewed by logging into your account on the DTC Duat or CSC Duat's website, depending on which provider generated the briefing. After a briefing is retrieved, you will notice that it was opened up in a new tab in this window. You can safely close this tab once you are finished reviewing. If you want to review that same briefing again, you can click on the Recent Briefings tab to open the same briefing. Briefings are retained for a few days after being generated. While we have this window open, we can also take a look at filing a flight plan. This same window allows us to file the flight plan by clicking on the new FAA Flight Plan tab at the top of the window. The majority of the required fields will be populated from the current flight plan we have, but there will be some fields that require additional input. If any of the pre-populated fields need to be changed, click the Edit link next to each field and make the required changes. Be sure to review all the fields for accuracy before submitting. If you would like to print a copy of FAA Form 7233-1, click the Print Form button at the bottom of the window. Once you are ready to file the flight plan, click the Submit button at the bottom of the page. This will immediately submit the form to ATC. This will also switch the window over to the Recent Flight Plan tab. From here, you will be able to refresh the list to check the status of the flight plan. Once it has been successfully filed, you will see an ID number and the word Filed in the status column. Your flight plan has now been filed and available to be opened or activated prior to your flight. The last feature we'll look at in this video is how to export your flight plan to a file that can be uploaded to GPS navigators. With our route still loaded in the flight planner, click on Route, then Export GPX. This will open a window asking for a location to save the resulting file. The flight plan will be exported in the standard GPX file format, which can be used to upload into many GPS navigators. Consult the manufacturer's instructions for directions on uploading the file to your GPS system. This may require a hardware device from the GPS manufacturer in order to upload to your specific GPS device. This concludes this video. Please be sure to review all the other videos in this series for additional information on using the AOPA Internet Flight Planner. Thanks for watching, and blue skies.